Hi, I'm Peter Tragos, host of the Lawyer You Know podcast and YouTube channel. The saying goes, everyone hates lawyers until you need one. Well, I'm here when you need one to answer your questions and give you insight that you didn't know you needed. Along with my partners, Pete Sardis, the professor, who has a finance and business background, and George Tragos, my dad, and the consigliere, a criminal defense giant, we can answer any questions you have. What's up, everybody? We're here on a Saturday night to do something fun. No news, no reporting on the case outside of some reporters that have been wrong before, confirming Johnny Depp will testify on Monday during the end of Amber's case in chief. So besides that, today we're going to have a little fun, something you all asked me to do. I'm going to do mock closing arguments. And some of you asked for one side, some of you asked for the other. People calling other people biased. And if they just choose one side, they can understand how it sounds and how it may look. So today I actually am going to be doing a mock closing argument for each side. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to do Johnny's first, I'm going to do Amber's second, and then I will finish with a little more from Johnny. And yes, it will be a little bit abbreviated. It's a 6-week trial. I think they're going to have half a day each for closing. That's why the judge is saving them for Friday. So this will be much abbreviated. And closings always have themes, and I'm interested to see what their themes are. I'm interested to see if it's going to be some kind of hashtag theme, or he doesn't look at her theme, where they started her cross, things like that. That we'll just have to wait and see kind of what creative thing the lawyers come up. It's not going to be hokey, hopefully. But one of the themes that was taught to us, and it brings me back to mock trial in law school, which makes sense based on the age of a lot of the professors. And my dad said he's used this a lot in closing. I've never used it in a real trial, but I did use it in mock trial, is the David Letterman top 10 kind of theme. So what we're going to do today is we're going to give kind of the 10 most important things I hope comes out during each side's closing argument. So for Johnny's, I'm going to start with 6 or 7 of them, and then I am going to finish or save 3 or 4 of them for rebuttal. And for Amber's, I'm going to do all 10 of hers right in the middle. And while I'm explaining this, I am going to state things as if they are facts and make these arguments as if they are facts. And again, I realize there may be arguments, there may be nitpicks. I get that, but during closing, you get to tell your side, you get to connect the dots. So as long as we all understand that, and for those of you that loved Letterman and understand the top 10, or for those of you who are my age and you're more akin to a TRL top 10 or a Sports Center top 10, what was the one I was going to say today? Today's top 10s, maybe Dude Perfect does a top 10, like the top 10 cereal, stuff like that. Maybe that's a good example of what happens today's day and age on the YouTubes for the kids. But we all get what a top 10 list is. So that's kind of going to be my theme. And a lot of people asked me to put a counter up because they seem to think we're going to get to 100 today. So I will put a live counter up, a subscriber counter. And we will see if we get to 100,000 tonight. I don't expect to get to 100,000 tonight. Would be cool if we got there tomorrow, kind of based on when or what we're getting per day, kind of. So we might hit it tomorrow, which would be cool on a Sunday to hit it. If we got it tonight, even better. We're going to do some fun stuff at 100,000. As many of you know, we're going to have a little Jack Sparrow cameo to do a Q&A on the Johnny Depp case whenever I get that costume in. So we are going to do that and have some fun with it and stuff. We'll do some giveaways as always. So if you're not subscribed yet and you're here watching the mock closings, take a second and go subscribe. And when you hit that subscribe button in live time, you will see the number go up, and I will do my best not to be distracted by the number as we go. I'm going to take Belinda's question right now. Why does Johnny go first? Shouldn't his side be the last words the jury heard before deliberation? So when you have the burden, you get to go first. And Johnny has the burden because he brought the claim, the main burden. Amber has a counterclaim, but Johnny's got the main burden for her claim, or for his claim. But he also gets to go last. So he gets to go first and he gets to go last because he has the burden. So he gets the first word with the jury and the last word with the jury. All right. So here we go. So there has to be, as always with a closing, some kind of structure and some kind of way you can kind of lead the jury through the story and get them the main theme and the main points that you want to see. So the way I would start Johnny Depp's closing, which is risky. I understand it's risky and some of you may hate it. And what I want is what I missed, what you'd add, what's in your top 10 things that you'd put in the closing. There'd be a lot more if I was actually doing the closing, of course. I expect the lawyers to put a lot more in there with the time that they're going to have. But I would start with a little shock value. And I would explain the brutal beatings, the brutality, the monster that Amber Heard described on the stand. The bottle incident, the holding her down by the neck while mashing her with the rings and everything, the blood that was supposedly everywhere, the pus, the lost hair, the bruising, the fat lips, all of it. That's what I would start out. And I would say that is what Amber Heard took the stand and explained to you about Johnny Depp. And what followed those stories are these three statements. And I would read the three statements that we're basing defamation on and we're basing these claims on, because I want to tie those three statements to the brutality she described. I don't want to let Amber Heard's team minimize those three statements and try to go with a simple defense that I thought would be the best the whole time. So you describe the brutality and the monster that she described. And then you add in those three statements and say, is it defamation? Or is it not true? Is it not credible? Can you not believe these humongous accusations and horrible stories Amber Heard is telling? So you build the burden and the mountain that Amber Heard built with her testimony, and then you try to break it down. And you start by saying you heard a ton of witness testimony. And there was one thing that was consistent between the entirety of all of the witnesses that don't have the last name Heard, and that is that Johnny Depp never hit Amber Heard or any other woman his entire life. The 50 years that Johnny Depp lived and dated and married. Did you get booted? That lived and dated and married. Nobody ever accused him of domestic violence. Nobody ever accused him of hitting another woman. And you heard that from all of the security guards, from his drivers, from the doorman, from the house manager, from the island manager, from the agents, from the lawyers, from his past girlfriends. Everybody agreed that they never saw Johnny Depp hit Amber Heard. Nobody ever told them Johnny Depp hit Amber Heard besides Amber Heard herself. Even Amber Heard's friends confirm that they never once saw Johnny Depp hit Amber Heard. So you either have to believe Amber Heard or everyone else when it comes to the fact that Johnny Depp hit her. And then you transition into point number 3, where past behavior is the best indicator of future behavior. Thank you. And let's compare past behavior. All of the testimony was clear that for 50 years, Johnny Depp had 0 accusations of domestic violence. But let's look at Amber Heard's past behavior. We know she was accused of domestic violence in the past. We know for a fact from her own best friend, Rocky, that she hit her in the face. And we have Amber's own words admitting to clocking Johnny Depp in the face. And I would play that recording where she admits to hitting him and belittles hitting him. So there are multiple allegations of abuse throughout Amber Heard's past. And there's a reason her and Rocky are no longer friends. What that reason is, you'll have to decide on your own. but she has a past of violence toward her partners and toward women and toward men. But we heard her diminish that and blame Johnny, which is where we transition into the battle of the experts. Point number 4, comparing Dr. Curry and Dr. Hughes. Whose testimony made more sense? Who seemed more biased? Who seemed less biased? The two main pieces of bias between these two witnesses are Johnny Depp had a dinner meeting before hiring his expert, and Amber Heard's team already knew what their expert was going to say because she always says the same thing. The men are the abusers and the women are the victims. Nothing else matters. That's the only way you come to the conclusion of PTSD before you ever give your patient the test. Which mental health expert would you trust? The one that does all the testing and lets the testing bear out what the diagnosis is? Or the mental health expert that doesn't even fill in the blanks, doesn't answer the test, and confirms the patient has PTSD without ever giving her the test? And there are plenty of other things you can go through comparing Dr. Curry and Dr. Hughes. Point number 5, motive. Why would Amber Heard lie? It's not a criminal case, but juries love motives, and they want to know why someone does something so wrong. And if we're focusing on the conduct of the defendant in this case, Amber Heard, what's the motive? If she has no motive, can we really believe she lied and did this? The motive is clear, and this is where I'd also get out some more recordings. If you listen to these recordings and you read these texts, nothing set Amber, and you listen to Dr. Curry's testimony, nothing set Amber Heard off more than when Johnny left. She would abuse him. She would say nasty things. She would make up stories. She would call her friends. She would call the cops. But nothing made her more mad than when he left for good. And when he left for good, that set her off on a pathway to destruction. And you play the recordings where she says the nastiest things she possibly could have said to him, the cackling laugh, the, oh, you've got me figured out, oh, you're such a baby, yeah, I hit you, you always leave, you always run away like a coward and a baby. The motive is that she was going to do anything she could now to hurt him now that he's left for good. And it's important to connect that dot that she did it to hurt him, because you connect the behavior, the action, and the testimony with the recordings, and you roll it into point number 6, which is damages. She did it to hurt him, and it did hurt him. And the number one piece of evidence as to why we know it hurt him is she made these statements, she published the op-ed at the height of the Me Too movement. That is all you need to know about whether or not it affected his career. The agents, the lawyers, everybody agrees, and everybody will explain to you how he lost money, but use your common sense. Even Amber Heard's witnesses say that things in Hollywood don't get reduced to writing. You don't put that stuff on paper as to why someone lost a role like Pirate 6. But his agent was pretty clear. He lost Pirate 6 because of this, and we know how much he lost because of that. But that was just the first domino. And Johnny Depp testified he lost everything, go through the emotional distress and everything he went through and all that. Amber Heard lied because he left. And she made up these just grandiose stories. She exaggerated, she embellished to try to hurt Johnny Depp as much as possible. But with all of the contradicting testimony and evidence in this case, there's no way to believe what she's saying. And these 3 statements are wrapped in there. Therefore, you got to come back with a verdict for Johnny Depp. Okay? And I pretty much leave the counterclaim alone. And that's the end of part 1 of Johnny Depp's, what we call his first close. And now we get to Amber Heard's. And I'm sure a lot of people will get mad, but let's pretend we represent Amber Heard. What are they going to say? They have to say something. Take a second, subscribe, and like the video if you haven't already. Hit the like button so more people can come in, and more people can join for the fun and get angry here, especially if they jump on right now when I start Amber Heard's closing, because they're going to be like, what? This guy's a stand for Amber Heard? All right. You got to be able to make arguments for both sides. So here we go. Amber Heard. I start out with a deep dive into defamation and why it's so difficult to prove and why we don't want people to be liable for their opinions and what that could do and what kind of precedent that could set and why our country was built on freedoms and the First Amendment, free speech, is so important. Knowing what that means. And then you go into actual malice. Why? Why would she do this? Because he left? She's the one who filed for divorce. So who really left? Who really left? The reason for the article is clear if you read it in its entirety, not just the 3 statements. She wanted to stand up for other victims of domestic abuse, and she wanted to stand up to the rich and powerful men of the world that were silencing the women they were abusing. Very clear when you read the article in its entirety, and I would read it again. And once again, the only person that thought this case was about Johnny Depp ever was Johnny Depp. Point number 2. Or that was point number 2, sorry. So point number 1 was defamation, deep dive into defamation. Second point was the purpose of the article, the motive, the reason. And point number 3. So point number 2, again, to end the Me Too movement, the rich and powerful men. And we roll it right into point number 3, the Hollywood lawyer expert who literally confirmed Johnny Depp is one of the boys, one of those rich and powerful men that gets whatever he wants and silences women. They'll deal with his diva behavior and his drug abuse. They protect him because they need him and he makes them the money. Point number 4, his best friend of 40 years saw it, Mr. Wickman, who confirmed what Amber said. All of the people around him are yes men and yes women because they have their hand out and Johnny Depp pays them. He controls their truth. He could have paraded hundreds of people that he's given money to over the last 50 years to come up and testify to whatever it is he wanted them to testify to. They'll lose their jobs. It'll affect their family. It'll affect their bottom line. So are they credible? I expect both lawyers to hit on the jury instruction about the credibility of witnesses. They belittled the drug abuse that even Johnny Depp himself admitted. And this is point number 5. How drugs and alcohol are clearly a gateway to abuse. He was blacking out, not remembering what happened the night before, not knowing what he did. How can you even believe his testimony? He would get drunk or high, take this drug or that drug, and he would beat her. And then she'd have to record the conversations because he doesn't even remember how it happened. He would apologize. He would say he wouldn't do it again. Same old story. But he could never kick the drugs and alcohol. And they were the gateway to the abuse. Dr. Hughes, point number 6. I would compare psychologists versus psychiatrists. I would compare board certification, number of years doing it, number of trials testified to, how she's the one that teaches lawyers and judges how to do this stuff. I do think her resume is potentially better than Dr. Curry, so I would hit a lot on that. And then I would say she confirmed that Amber Heard suffered from PTSD as a result of the abuse from Johnny Depp. It's basically all you got because all she did was regurgitate everything Amber Heard said. Point number 7, to win this case, Johnny Depp has the burden to prove that Amber Heard lied and she was not a victim of domestic abuse. But let's look at the evidence we have, okay? You can believe what you want to believe. If you want to throw out all the contradictions and just believe what everybody agreed on, okay? If we throw out everything everybody else disagreed on, this recording, that picture, this person's testimony, that person's testimony, this person's friend, this person's security guard, and we break it down to what we can be sure of, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp both agree that Johnny Depp headbutted Amber Heard. Johnny said it was an accident, but once again, he was on drugs and alcohol. He didn't know what he was doing. And after all the abuse, Amber knew it was not an accident. It was yet another hit to the face. And then I'd put up the picture of the bruised nose and the bruised thing and saying this was the result. These were the injuries she sustained from that accidental headbutt. That based in context of their relationship, she knew was on purpose. And the second form of abuse Johnny agreed to or admitted to was grabbing her by both arms and putting her where he wanted her to go. Now, he said he wanted to move her so he could leave and avoid the fight, but we know what actually happened. He grabbed her and threw her to the side. Just another act of domestic violence against Amber Heard. And then I'd show the picture of the bruising on the arm and say this was the result once again. So whether you believe anything anybody else said, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard both agreed to at least those two instances of domestic violence. And with those two instances alone, Amber Heard has a right to stand up as a victim and fight against the rich and powerful. Someone testified Johnny Depp made over $600 million. You saw the islands and the homes and the security guards and the drivers. He's the definition of rich and powerful. He's the definition of one of the boys of Hollywood. So he may not think headbutting his wife is abuse, but she does. And then I'd circle it back into the constitutionally protected opinion. Next, I would go through the pictures of the injuries and explain exactly how the domestic abuse caused these injuries and how she used her makeup to cover these injuries. And how she'd have, day one, she'd use this makeup, and her makeup artist confirmed that this is how you would cover up makeup with the peach and this and that. And I would also explain how her makeup artist confirmed that before the James Corden show, she had to do this to her lips and this to her face before anybody else got there to make sure it was covered up, because when she got there, she was shocked. And these are very important parts, because you need confirmation of other people that saw these injuries. We have confirmation of how we got them. Johnny Depp admitted it. I can see people getting so mad in the chat. It's so funny. It's so funny, people getting mad in the chat. I'm giving closing arguments for both sides, okay? For those of you who are just new, I did Johnny's first close. I'm doing Amber's now. We're doing it for both, so relax. Stick with me here. Point number 9, consistency is key. And Johnny's people on the payroll were consistent. Everybody he had testify was biased, was being paid by him, influenced by him, needs him. But who testified for Amber Heard? People that she's no longer friends with, no longer has a relationship with, no longer are her stylist or work for her. And they all confirmed exactly what she said, everything that she said. A lot of people saying they're late, so I'll just give another caveat. Stick with us. We did Johnny Depp's first close. We're doing Amber Heard's close, and then we're going to do a rebuttal for Johnny Depp. Point number 10, because we do have to hit the counterclaim at least a little bit. Johnny Depp is someone who hides behind people he pays. And Adam Waldman is just another one of those paid employees Johnny Depp is trying to hide behind. But his words can be attributed to Johnny Depp as Johnny Depp's agent. We know Johnny Depp told him about this hoax, told him to promote it. Johnny Depp not only has the drivers and the security guards and the house managers and the island managers, he's got a PR monster machine that pushed those hashtags. They want you to believe those hashtags are real, but this PR machine created those hashtags, promoted those hashtags, just like our expert testified to. And because of the lies of Adam Waldman, because of the hashtags, Amber Heard is about to lose Aquaman 2, and her career that was just taking off with blockbuster hits, one of the biggest movies of all time that she had a co-lead role in, is over. Johnny Depp said he was going to end her career, and he did. He said he was going to ruin her, and he did. Because that's what the rich and powerful men of Hollywood can do. And that's exactly what we're up here to fight against. And then the ending, this is kind of the ending for them I would have. If Johnny Depp wins, we're back to where we started. The rich and powerful men get away with the abuse because of the money and power. They pay people to say what they want to silence their victims. Amber wrote the op-ed because she wanted to stand up for herself and others who were too afraid. The only verdict that keeps America in 2022 and doesn't take us back is a verdict for Amber Heard. Something like that. That's how I would end it. Something like that. Then in rebuttal. Okay? So we're done with that. For everybody that hated that. All right? I know people are saying they're getting mad. Well, just get ready because that's the type of arguments they're going to make. We'll talk about this more after when we get to the questions and stuff, okay? When we come back to Johnny Depp's side. Now is when we get to Amber. If you notice, members of the jury, we did not talk a lot about Amber's impeachment during our first close. And I would go through. Actually, first, I would probably start with responding to the counterclaim and talk about how you can't possibly know. So this is point number 7 or something. I think it's point number 7. Adam Waldman clearly stated that he had evidence that Amber Heard perjured herself from law enforcement officers in Los Angeles. He had evidence that this was a hoax. He talked to the law enforcement officers that reported to the scene and saw no damage, nothing. He heard all the witnesses you heard. In fact, Adam Waldman was the first juror in this case. He saw all the evidence, all the pictures, listened to the recordings, and talked to the witnesses, and his verdict was clear. And it should be your verdict. Maybe this is a better ending. And this should be your verdict, that Amber Heard was lying, and she was lying to hurt Johnny Depp, to ride on the coattails of the Me Too movement, and to do damage to all the real victims out there. Because now people are going to question legitimate victims because of what Amber Heard did. But Adam Waldman saw through all that. And we hope you see through all of that too. Maybe that's a good ending to the close, but we did it here. All right, so now let's get to Amber Heard. Every single witness that testified, I submit to you, literally every single witness had something that they disagreed with Amber Heard on. And I would go through every single one. There are tons, literally every witness. Her friends with the stairs story. What they saw, what they didn't see, where they were, where they weren't actually, whether or not they ever saw Johnny Depp hit her. The drug and alcohol abuse that she wants to blame Johnny for, and that's why he can't remember things. Yet she admits to taking all sorts of drugs, including sleeping pills, a bunch, before she testified to the most unbelievable story of the entirety of their relationship. Barkin. Johnny never hit me. Yeah, he was jealous, saw a scratch on my back, but she never once said Johnny hit her. His friend, who says, everybody on the payroll says what Johnny says. Even he said Johnny never hit her. Amber never told him Johnny hit her. None of Johnny's past relationships ever told him that Johnny hit her. Inconsistent with Amber Heard. Every single witness, and I would go through it ad nauseum. They're inconsistent with Johnny's witnesses, inconsistent with Amber's witnesses, inconsistent with the recordings, inconsistent with the pictures, inconsistent with the text messages, inconsistent with everything. Nothing lines up for Amber Heard, and I would spend a huge part of rebuttal on that. And then is when I would get to the pictures and the recordings and show them to her. And I would say, here's the picture after being brutally beaten. Where's all the blood? Where's the broken nose? Where are the swollen face? Blah, 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 blah. Go through the whole thing. Show the James Corden interview. This is after she had a split lip, broken nose, busted face, everything. This is the picture. You have eyes, members of the jury. Use your eyes. That's what you're here for. You're here to decide these facts. And just show these pictures that she's showing and line them up with the photo shoot that is the same day or the day after these pictures were taken, where she's in the water, where I assume, I could be wrong, and we didn't hear an expert testify to this, but I would assume some makeup at least would wash off. And there are men on the jury that probably know about as much as I do about makeup. And I get to the makeup and talk about the bruise kit and how Amber Heard and her stylist both said they knew how to use that to make bruises, not just take them away. So are you going to believe Amber Heard's stories and her lies? Or are you going to believe all the witnesses? And are you going to believe your own eyes? See if as we look at the pictures, I would again talk about how Amber Heard admitted she had an issue with her skin. She has a bad reaction to the sun. Where are these pictures in the water taken? In the sun. Where are these pictures where she has a red face taken? In the sun. The two pictures side by side that clearly show they're edited. The most unbiased witnesses in the case, the police officers who disagree with Amber, they disagree with Josh Drew. We have body cam footage. There were no injuries. She had her opportunity to tell law enforcement. She had her opportunity to make this right. She had her opportunity to go after Johnny Depp the legal way. But she knew she could never win because it wasn't true. And the law enforcement officers confirmed that, and the domestic violence specialist confirmed that. What else do you need? They say everybody's on the payroll. Are the officers on the payroll? No. Is the doorman on Johnny's payroll? No. He works for the building. Plenty of people are not on Johnny's payroll that testified totally inconsistently with Amber Heard, including Amber Heard's own witnesses. And then lastly, this is the person that you have to decide whether they're telling the truth or whether they're lying. You saw her on that stand say this, and I would use what they impeached her with her deposition. But this is what she looked like and how she sounded at her deposition. And she says she didn't set him up. Yet, this is what she says about TMZ or, leaking it to TMZ. This is a pattern. She has a pattern of making stuff up and setting people up. She set him up for the TRO. She set him up at the depot. She set him up with TMZ. She leaked the video to TMZ. And she lied about the abuse, just like she lied about the pledge. And I would play the video when she said she paid the $7 million and go through all the impeachment of how she didn't actually pay the $7 million. So there's tons of impeachment we can go through, right? And I would couch a lot of it under that title of impeaching Amber Heard, which I would save most of for rebuttal. And then I would finish by playing the video clip where she says, "Tell the world, Johnny, who's going to believe you?" And I would say she's wrong. The world believes him. That's why millions of people are hashtagging justice for Johnny, because they believe him. And after seeing the evidence, you should too. Now, that could be inadmissible. That could be problematic. But I would at least argue that it's in evidence. And if it's in evidence, I'm allowed to argue it. Their expert said millions of people are hashtagging justice for Johnny. So I would argue I can say it in closing. And I would say it just like that. I'll say it one more time. Play the video of when she says, tell the world, Johnny, who's going to believe you? And say, well, you're wrong. Because millions of people are hashtagging justice for Johnny because they believe him, and you should too. Something like that. Now, again, that's a little risky start and finish, but it would be a bang. I think it would be a banger to start and finish with something like that. So that's what we got, okay? That was 30 minutes total. They're going to have like 6 hours. So they're going to get to a lot more meat. But I do want to hear what you guys thought. I want to hear what you'd add, what I'd miss. I'm sure I've missed a ton. 6 weeks of testimony. So before we get to the questions, take a second, hit that like button on the video. Let's get the likes up. Let's get them up near 5,000. We got over 6,000 people in here. The subscriber counter is over 98,000, which is awesome. And I hope we hit 100,000 tomorrow. I am in talks, and the Johnny Depp suit is the Jack Sparrow suit is being created. So we will stay tuned for that. Exciting things ahead. But let's get to some super chats now. Let's get to some questions. They get 2 hours each. I saw a mother of healers just said. And I also want to say one other thing. So there's a full week of trial left. So I'm sure some stuff's going to come out in a full week. That's 1/6 of the trial that we don't know yet. So I'm sure that'll be included in the closing arguments. But obviously, I don't have that information, so we can't put it in. One of which I hope is the impeachment of Whitney Heard, which I would hammer on if it comes out. Because I would say the only other person besides Amber Heard that says she saw violence is A, inconsistent with how Amber described it, and B, it's a lie, according to Howell. All right. Ashley Dawn, if Depp were to win, what would happen? Or would that open the door for him to charge her for the domestic abuse? I don't know where, we've gone over this a couple of times where it's like, I don't know what the jurisdiction is, what the statute of limitations are. I don't think there's going to be any criminal charges for domestic abuse coming out of this case. Melanie Casillo, have you any idea why a raven is like a writing desk? I don't. Just kidding. Love your live chats. Thanks for doing this from Boston. Awesome. Sarah Kiger, I'm pumped they're calling JD again. This strategy is hilarious when they have 8 hours left and he takes 13.5 minutes to answer a question. That's true. Stefka, thank you. Taylor Pasternak, hey. Interesting giraffe. Peter is the GOAT and he has the best hair. Thank you. Gina Monaco, thank you for the super sticker. Simon Tupper, you know your strategy sucks when you bring an expert to talk about hashtags and you allow the other team to get hashtag Amber Heard multiple times. Yeah, it's not great, Simon. That's not great. I found looking in the eye thing cheesy. I agree, actually. Lisa White, do we get to be the jury? Lisa, I guess so. Let me see if, I don't know how to, I can't post a poll here. I'm on my iPad, but sure, you can be the jury. I have a feeling I know which way you all would rule at this point, but you can be the jury and let me know in the comments who you think would win if those were the closing arguments. Feisty, nobody mentioned Amber's talent agent said Jason M didn't have chemistry with Amber. Yeah, I don't know how much I would focus on the damages if I was Johnny Depp. I would focus on her just losing, and to me, that's an all or nothing claim. If I lose that for $1, I'm as pissed as if I lost it for 100 million. So I don't know how much time, depending on the timing, we'll see. Interesting giraffe. Photo of JD asleep with ice cream has the bruise kit in it. I saw people sent me that. Brittany Kerfman. Hey, Peter, just wanted to show some support and say thank you for all the hard work. Thank you so much. Brittany Kerfman is a new member. Awesome, Brittany. Angela K is also a new member. Daisy Beach 23. Would it help JD to prove AH sold the TMZ video? He got her the Aquaman movie and Kate Moss was not abused. These are kind of nitpicky arguments. I think they've made their point with TMZ. I also think they made their point with Aquaman. I actually think that backfired to make it seem like Johnny Depp got her the movie because, again, that plays into these men think they control everything and the women are worthless narrative. And I don't think the Kate Moss discussion was very important. Stay strong. I think all of us especially you guys, knew what that was and looked it up. I don't think the jury, I think it would have gone right over the jury's head personally. Bruce Kit looks almost as like the makeup and opening statement. Coincidence? Nope. I think it is the same thing. Kathy, amen. Video out today about Amber Heard's bruise kit. It's pictured in the evidence photo of JD sleeping with the ice cream. Fact. Stefka Dank Derp. Question. Can anyone practice law in another state? How does that work? Can anyone bring a case to the state they don't live in? Forgive if answered already. So it depends on the case as far as what jurisdiction may be appropriate. Lawyers can what's called pro hoc vice in for an individual case in another state. They have to be connected to a lawyer that's within good standing in that state, that's willing to swear that the other lawyer is in good standing in the state that they're coming from. So there are some hoops to jump in, but yeah, you can pretty much practice in any state for at least a one-off. There's a lot of different things you can do as well, and lawyers you can work with in other states. Allison Pruitt. There is literally a makeup setup in the picture of JD passed out with the ice cream, a 4-pallet bruise kit. Can that be looked at again in evidence? Yes, I bet it's been scoured over. So if it was a fact, as everybody is saying now, I think they would have gotten to it, but maybe not. Maybe they'll get to it in the future. Mr. Noak Feener. As a balding 30-something-year-old man, I have to ask, do you do hair donations? I don't think it would work if I cut it off and you glued it to your head. My dad also had the same issue in his 30s. Angela, a lot of audio is difficult to understand. Is there a reason the audio wasn't enhanced? Appreciate greatly what you do. I think some of it was enhanced. My dad mentioned they should have done transcripts with it. So somebody must have objected if they didn't at least offer the transcripts as to what they said or how accurate those transcripts would have been. But very interesting and a good point. Stay strong. Motive, dollar bill, y'all. Partially kidding. Oh, that's her motive. Monica UK, all 5 of my accounts are now subscribed. I'm congratulating you early on 100K subscribers. Thank you, Monica, from the UK. Thank you, all 5 Monicas from the UK. Lauren Hers. Number 3, you gave examples of Amber Heard's violence to Rocky, Johnny, etc. But you didn't mention the arrest for domestic violence against Tasha Van Ray. Still not admissible, even in rebuttal. I don't think the arrest is not going to come in. I think what did come in is as much as is going to come in, which is Amber said, you've been accused of it, right? People saw you, blah, blah, blah. If I was Amber's lawyers, I would object if they bring it up in closing because those are facts, not in evidence. Just because Camille asked those questions does not mean they came out, first off. But if they do get to argue them, they're only going to be able to argue that you've been accused or somebody saw you hit your partner in the past. They cannot confirm that she was arrested for that. So that's not going to come out. That's not come out in evidence. Carsto, if you are on the jury, which way are you leaning based on testimony of last week? Leaning Johnny Depp, but not a slam dunk at this point. I'm a slam dunk against Amber Heard's counterclaim. Like I know how I would rule already at that point, but I don't know. I'm not slam dunk on Johnny Depp's claim personally. My dad just texted me, I was not balding in my 30s. Okay. I have pictures that say otherwise, Dad. You're opening with defensive instead of offensive. I think you might have been late to the party. I started with Johnny Depp, then I went to Amber Heard, and then I came back to Johnny Depp. Just a name. For JD's, I'd mention that we raise our boys not to hit a girl and to walk away, and JD did just that, and yet he's being called an abuser. Oh, like that's what we tell our boys these days. Okay, I get what you're saying. Monica Jones, first time I'm here. Thanks from Canada. Monica, awesome. Welcome. Odetta Garcia, as an SADV survivor, Amber is scary. Her eyes, demeanor, her story is believable. It just doesn't fit her. Ashanti, what's up? Oh, that was point number 2. Sorry. LOL, just like her lawyers. I did not do that on purpose to try to make fun of her lawyers. That proves it. It just happens. I can't even look at you while you're mock defending her. I'm mock mad. As long as it's mock, we're good. Angela K, sorry if already answered. Can there be objections during closing arguments? Yes. Thank you for your insight. It's my favorite channel to watch. Thank you, Angela. Yes, they can object to things, but they can't object to argumentative. Usually the most important objection, in my opinion, is facts not in evidence. Do not let them bring in things that have not come out in testimony or evidence. That's my big thing in closing. That's pretty much the only thing I think I ever object to. Michael Corey, only issue I see with your closing for Amber Heard is that I don't think she will accept that lawyers will argue legal technicalities of defamation. She wants to win. She wants to be the victim, and she will want closing to reflect that. You absolutely may be right, but in this mock closing, I didn't have to ask her. So that's what I went with. Zola, after 6 weeks of trial, we deserve to see the alpacas enter the courtroom. Ben Chu made it happen. Bonus if they're dressed in what if any shirts. I heard the judge is cracking down on these supporting shirts. Laura Flint. Someone noticed there's a legit bruise kit at the bottom of the sleeping with ice cream photo. Why didn't we hear that from A's therapist about abuse? I don't think anybody's pointed that actually out. I see the subscriber numbers now kind of going up and down. This must be as people are signing on for just the Amber Heard closing. That's funny. Heather Farber. Can objections be made during closing arguments? Yes. For what reasons? Facts, not evidence. They can also argue that they're misstating the facts. Trying to think of what else they can really object to in closing. The golden rule, that's a big one where you can't say put the jury in the client's shoes. You can't say, how would you feel if you were Amber Heard and Johnny Depp called you a liar? They also can't say, how would you feel if you were Johnny Depp and someone wrongfully accused you of this? They can't do that. That's the golden rule. Isamelo, so close to 100K and getting closer. Lila Aguilar. Don't give them ideas. Amber's lawyers are not the brightest. I'm sure they'll do fine. Taylor Pasternak, Amber should have hired you. You had me going. Johnny's girl, AH, said on the stand she isn't a victim. She said she never wanted to be a victim. She never wanted to be called a victim. She clearly thinks she is a victim of domestic violence. A lot of people have commented this to me, and I agree. She was almost, to me, it felt like she was using it as a shtick. Like, I never wanted to be the victim, but, those were the circumstances that I found myself in because of Johnny. That's kind of how I felt it. Marina L., what are your thoughts on when Amber Heard said she has the op-ed framed and hung up, found that odd? Would you have asked her about that on cross? No, because she said she was proud of it, and I don't want to go into an area where she can actually have a legitimate response and argument. Mr. RN, what's up? Why hasn't Depp attorney subscribed? Amber's nose scarring due to sniffing coke, the opioid she's been using since she was 18 years old. I think you'd have to have an expert testify to that. I don't think the lawyers can just say that happened because all the coke you snorted, right? They'd have to have an expert for that, which is probably why it was unfair. And I thought it was unfair that anything about the ENT doctor came in. Kay Annis, did you see her bruise kid in the photo of Johnny passed out? Man, everybody thought that was a huge deal, huh? Joy Nanda, oh, you're so good. You almost had me for the defense. So glad you are not actually Amber Heard's lawyer. Kent Sean, thank you. Birdman, hand rub, Jiff, Sierra Kiger. Fable, if Amber was more concerned about winning this case than presenting herself as a victim, could you have won this case for her? I think she absolutely has a winnable case. I do think she has a winnable case. Patricia Savage, no way that moving someone to the side who is in your face is not violence. Accidentally headbutting someone who is attacking you is not DV. Defending yourself physically is not DV. Fair. Cheryl Talsma, who will do closing arguments for Depp and Amber Heard? I think it's going to be Chu and Vasquez for Depp, and I think it's going to be Elaine and Rottenborn for Amber. People get mad that sometimes I say Camille versus Ben, or Chu versus Vasquez, or Elaine versus Rottenborn. I always forget. I think it's Bretterhoff or something is Elaine's last name. Rottenborn, I forget his first name. I think it's, oh no, I don't think it's Ben. See, now I'm thinking it's Ben. I don't remember all the names at once, so I just say the names I remember. Low Water Mark, saw you with Nick. You do a great job. Hope you get to 100K tonight. Thank you, Low Water Mark. This was very generous of you. I hope I get to 100K tonight as well. Nick is good at this, man. He's good at streaming this stuff. He's got a lot to say. He's funny. He's quick-witted. He's good at this stuff. So a lot of people came from that channel, from Legal Bites, from all over the place. A lot of people from a lot of places, obviously, to get 98,000 people on the same channel. So appreciate you. Kim Schwint, thanks for the super sticker. Patricia Savage, I said that wrong. LOL. I meant no way moving something. That's what I thought. When you first started, I was like, wait. And then the second part of your comment, I picked up on it. But thank you for correcting. Low Watermark also decided to become a member. Look at that. Awesome. Barbara Kangas, can they show pictures of actual victims? Not that are not in evidence. They can't use that really as a demonstrative aid. They probably could have if they would have brought an abuse victim in to say this isn't what it looks like, or a medical doctor, but I don't think they laid the foundation for any of that evidence to come in. Susie A, will closing use her past abuse? I certainly would. Nancy Baldwin is a new member. Gloria Minix, TMZ screw up is powerful. I agree. That was like visually shocking to me to watch, which I don't, that's not easy to do. Kim Schwint, happy birthday. To who? It's not my birthday. I hope you didn't think it was my birthday, but I appreciate it, and I'll put this one away for my birthday. Peter Zeta, here I am, something like a hurricane. Here I am. Paula Graham, thank you. T.S. Duff, again, we wish you were part of the team making closing arguments. Thanks, T.S. Duff. Again, I'm going to try to get to as many of the super chats as I possibly can tonight, as I always do. So I appreciate everyone for being here. And if I don't get to all of them, I apologize. I do have to call it at some point. All right, Josh Vermillion. Don't forget the grumpy. Does an abused person scared for their life take an Amber turd in someone's bed? I guess. I feel like I don't feel like that's the strongest evidence they have. I don't know. And I don't want to seem like I'm making a joke about it. That's a tough kind of area to hit. They get 2 hours each team. Sue Jassa, what about the metadata? I don't feel like they've gotten really much evidence in. I would talk about the doctored picture, like I said, but if they call a metadata or a forensic, technology expert in rebuttal, then maybe they can get more into that. Martine Sinclair, I know that you are unbiased, but if you have to guess why she did all this, your theory, regards from Argentina. My theory is I think it was a horrible relationship. I think it was a toxic and dysfunctional relationship. And I feel like the op-ed specifically, I feel like she did believe she was abused, at least to a certain extent. And she was going to try to ride the Me Too coattails. She wanted to get exposure for Aquaman 2. If she takes a swipe and hurts Johnny Depp's career at the same time, I think that she'd be very happy with that. And that's why I think she did it. I think it may have kind of spiraled out of control where she kind of created this huge story, which it's hard for me to believe the real big story she's telling now. Shauna Brennan. What about her lie about donating $7 million, which half of it did not even go to the children's hospital she said she would do? I would absolutely talk about that as part of the impeachment umbrella. Sarah Vogelslang, does closing count towards their time? If so, how much time do they get for closing arguments? Love your channel. Let's go 100K. I don't think it's counting towards their time. I think that's what people have been saying. And I've heard on here they get 2 hours each. I don't know. I haven't heard that said in court. Beverly LM, I still think that she put something in his drink. Plus, she didn't have any medical records. It seems like she wouldn't have had to put something in his drink. He seemed very willing to take pretty much whatever. MJ Ryzen Tragos 2024, never going to happen. Definitely never going to happen. Tragic Mouse, will Kate Moss take the stand? I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. Debbie O, I'm thinking you could borrow someone's Gasparilla costume for this. Just saying, nicely done on the mock closings. I value hearing it from both sides. I actually have, hopefully, I don't know if it's going to happen, but we've been talking that somebody that actually subscribes and watches the videos, does this stuff for a living, and is going to send me a Johnny Depp costume. And I'm going to plug the page, talk about how awesome it is because I've seen some pictures of it, and we'll do it. We'll do it. And we'll have fun with it. Devin's Law killed the mediation. Thank you, Devin, for the good job, and congratulations on a job well done. I'm sure your client was happy. Kelly DeBetts is a new member. Nash, I saw all over TikTok today that in the bottom left corner, there was the bruise kit in the spilled ice cream picture. Kayla Smart, will the jury be able to watch any of these testimonies in their process of reaching a verdict? They can ask the judge. The judge may let them because usually they ask for a transcript, which costs money and takes time, and usually judges say no. It's possible. It's more likely than if they have to type out a transcript for a witness. However, a lot of these witnesses were already transcribed because of that week off. So we'll see. This trial is very different, so maybe. TWE is freaking amazing. Do we know who's doing closings? No, we can only guess based on who's kind of carried the heaviest load throughout the trial. Karen D. Simone, will the Thanksgiving video come in from Marilyn Manson's assistant? It would have to come in through some kind of testimony and rebuttal. Lauren Hers, oh my gosh, Peter, yes, the Adam Waldman first ever juror. His verdict was clear. It could be great as an opening for rebuttal or the final part, which is better. I don't know. If I was doing the full thing, I would try to see where it flowed the best. But that was interesting. Yeah, it was kind of an interesting thought. Parks White. And you could also say the law enforcement officers were jurors technically. Parks White. In closing, can Johnny's lawyer state that there are hours of recorded audio that you have not heard, therefore justice for Johnny? No. That was what Amber Heard was trying to do, saying there's all this great audio or all these great evidence that you can't hear. You cannot argue things that are not in evidence. You can argue a lack of evidence like where are the pictures of all of the actual injuries? I would also argue, so we're supposed to believe that she got, hurt, very seriously injured, and then she wanted him to come to Coachella, or she loved him, was begging to hug him the next day. You can also talk stuff like that. You can argue a lack of evidence, but not things that are inadmissible and the judge said couldn't come in. Melly P. I may have missed it, but Amber's side could bring up how she has a Johnny Depp recording apologizing for the abuse. Yes. And I don't know if I had it on my notes, but I don't know if I said I would absolutely talk about how in the recordings she accuses him clearly and he does not deny, and a lack of denial is an admission. I know a lot of you don't agree with that, but I would make that argument in closing as well. I don't think I said it during the mock closing, but it's one of the notes I had. Asma El Kadir, thank you. Linda Dickey, thank you. Christine M. Bond, just a super sticker. That's awesome. Thank you, Christine. Should have just let this one roll during my whole closing. Nikki, I think Whitney Heard regrets making the testimony she did, and she saw how much it hurt Johnny. I think they would still be close if not for Amber. They will still care for each other. Unpopular opinion, Whitney Heard didn't want to testify, and I feel bad for her. We'll see if she gets impeached. Tracy G. Bet Depp's team gets a fully paid vacay on his private island when done, not to mention some private perks from Johnny Depp. I think they could probably afford to go to the island. Aaron M. is a new member. Blythe Burke. Have you seen the picture of JD's bruised face that keeps getting talked about? I would talk about the picture in closing. I did not see that. Oh, you mean the one that his security guard posted? I think the fact that Amber admitted hitting him in the recording is like slam dunk that she abused him. Debbie Faison Cook, thank you for the super sticker. Caitlin Palmer, how long do you think the jury will deliberate? I've been saying 3 days. I really have no clue. No clue. I would say longer than a day. More than a day would be my guess. Catherine Hedgepeth, new member. Peter Zeta. Ben Nye, theatrical abuse crime on coffee table. Cream on coffee table. Sharon Jensen. What was Ben's fist bump about if they don't call Moss? Maybe that on cross they were allowed to ask, you've been accused of domestic violence. It could be that. We may never know exactly. If they call Kate Moss, I guess potentially it could be that. But we'll see. Maybe he'll tell us at the end of the trial. Joy Goff in Cluj. Thank you for your guidance throughout this trial. I have learned so much about our legal system. You are the best. Thank you. Hard to do this before the rebuttal, Devin said. I think it's going to be huge. It's important for sure. It's important. Jack Sparrow on, mate. Can't wait. Thanks, JW. Jay Kaufman is a new member. Oh, I'm one big miss. I would definitely talk about the TRO in her closing and how she got that TRO, how the judge believed her, how the judge granted it. She saw the injuries. She heard Amber explain it just like you did. I would definitely do that if it was her closing too. Vanessa Vernick, I don't think just having a bruised kid in the photo proves anything, does it? There are multiple ways to argue that. Absolutely. That's why I wouldn't focus on this stuff that can be so easily misunderstood by the jury because it doesn't really line up and make sense and you have to have legitimate testimony explaining it. I don't focus on that stuff quite as much. L. Kelly Kane, new member. I think it can be important for the people that are already with Johnny, potentially. Barbara Kangas, a former neighbor of Amber's, said she has the same bruise on her arm from bumping something. I think it was the building gym. It didn't come out in evidence in trial, though. Linda Dickey, AH took her publicist to the TRO hearing. Why? Who else was going to call and tip off TMZ? Can she criminally be charged for perjury, Suze? Theoretically, she could. I don't think it's going to happen here. I'm hearing it's happening in Australia and maybe even the UK. L444, can you even imagine what Amber Heard's police expert, retired LAPD lieutenant, will testify to? I have access to my dad's too, and he can't see any wiggle room. Sandra A, will you go out on a date with me? No, I don't think that's going to happen, Sandra. Melanie Casio, since she claims to have scars on the bottom of her feet, I'd ask why they didn't show the jury that. Even at the Nuremberg trials, they made the victims show their scars. If I were a juror alone, that discredits her. If I'm Johnny's lawyers, you don't want to ask her because you don't want to have if the glove don't fit, you must acquit moment where she actually does have the scars on her feet. Patricia Savage, Bob Bianchi seems like a heavyweight attorney. What do you think? Is he the guy that was crossing the experts? I thought there were some highs and lows, if I'm being honest. Carol Funk, I heard the party is don't have to be there for the verdict. Is that true? They can waive their appearance if they want to, in this jurisdiction at least. Sherry and Max, thank you. Lisa Thompson is a new member. Just thinking 1,000. Couldn't evidence that comes up in rebuttal be used in final arguments and therefore closing arguments could be different? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's a caveat I put in there for sure. Kristen, when he left, even when he only left the room. Zello Yellow. I missed very, very beginning. If you were on JD's team, what would you hound on? Count 3, the title essay of the tweet towards defamation, how awful it is. I would try to wrap it in with her testimony, and I would try to make them think of her testimony and that op-ed as one. I would really want them to wrap it in as one. And I don't think the other side's going to argue with that. So I would want to just the huge mountain she's created and that bigger burden. Jessica Lynn, I would add drugs and alcohol were always in Johnny's life, and he was never accused. Great point, and he never lost roles over it. Jessica. Financial Consultant Network, thank you for the super chat. Stay strong. My sister is going to UCLA, paralegal, works with lawyers. I told her about you. She's very excited. I sent her a bunch of your shorts. Awesome. Thank you. Rachel Moss. Can the jury watch behavior analysts to learn about body language, tales of lying, as long as it is not related to a specific case? I guess theoretically they could, but they really I would consider that outside research if I was a lawyer, and I would not be happy about that. I would not be happy about that. But I guess they could theoretically. Mr. RN, is it okay that Amber modified her testimony and changed the bottle intrusion to the night of her birthday? Thoughts on how that looked? I actually thought that was one of the parts of Camille's cross that she lost, when Amber knew the answers to interrogatories better than Camille did. And because Camille said she never mentioned it in her interrogatories and Amber pointed to a spot where she did, that to me made it seem like Amber won that exchange, even though I agree with you, she did change her story. I just didn't think it came across very clean. Eric, I believe everybody will agree that when the time comes, we must not only see Captain Jack Sparrow, you should deliver an entire show talking and acting like him. I don't think I have that in me, if I'm being honest. Mac Sauce, thanks for taking time out of your day for us. Spidey came out with a great video breaking down AH contradicting herself over and over again in her testimony. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I got to get with him and talk to him about it and watch some of his videos. Try not to do it during the trial because I don't want it to sway me, and I think it might, based on how all of you are talking about how convincing he is. But eventually, I'd like to get with him. He seems cool. Mr. Nookfener, I bet a fair donation would work with some Amica cream. Just saying, have a great evening. L. Kelly Kane, super sticker, thank you. Matt, can JD's team bring Jay Howell to the stand after AH's team is out of time so they can't cross her with anything that impeaches Whitney Heard? Hello from OKC. Yes, they could if they run out of time, but they can't really force them to run out of time, so we'll see. Dusty D, thank you for the super sticker. JAM, I'd add, JD won't look at Amber Heard under advice of no contact by loved ones, healthcare providers, yet he met Whitney's eyes as concerned fellow survivor. Maybe facts, not in evidence, but Jessica McIntyre, I heard yesterday that the judge ruled J and A don't have to be there when the verdict is read. What do you think are the odds one or both don't show? I hope Johnny shows up. That would not be a good look if he did all this for the media to know the true story and then he's not there for the verdict. I don't know. I think it would show that they're a little nervous about the verdict if they don't show up, but maybe it's because of the publicity. They don't want to deal with getting out, and they have other reasons that a normal client wouldn't, which I understand. Vanessa Vernick, if you only had 8 hours left, like AH's team, how would you allocate the time? I would hit the most important parts. I don't know why they played some of those video depots that they did, but I would hit the most important parts. I would get up, cross quick, have things prepared, nailed down. I don't think I would call Johnny to the stand again. Beatrix Kiddo, when Camille asked Amber Heard if she was afraid of taking pictures of Johnny Depp, she said, why would I? She had no fear of JD, not consistent with true DV victims. That's clear throughout all the recordings. Linda is a new member. DJ Schmidt, this is the best breakdown of why Amber did this to Johnny. Cool, check it out. Julianne, would you say that all of the media attention for JD will assist in resurrecting his career regardless of verdict? Yes, feel strongly about that. Crystal, congratulations on your growth. I've enjoyed your commentary along with the other members of LawTube. Most importantly, I love seeing all of you support one another. Yeah, and there's no reason not to. Zello Yellow, hypothetical. What happens if JD's team ends rebuttal by Wednesday? Do they take the day off Thursday and do closings on Friday? I know not happening. I actually don't know. I think the judge might be okay with that, to get the jury deliberating earlier, unless they ask for the day to prepare for closings or something like that. Discot erect. Sorry if this has already been asked, Peter, but if Dr. Curry is brought in for rebuttal, what points do you think JDs will try to focus on? They'll focus on all the things Dr. Hughes got wrong, why Dr. Hughes is biased, how not just women are victims, and then she could comment on how Amber testified exactly in line with BPD and everything she diagnosed her with and why. Nana Tona. Hi, nice to watch your channel. What can Amber Heard's team ask Johnny if called again on Monday? Is it limited to the counterclaim, limited due to AC attorney-client privilege? Yes, it would most likely be limited to the counterclaim and anything they didn't ask him already. They can't regurgitate things they've already asked him. Melistasi, 100K, here we come. Started watching you a year ago and love your channel. Your content and character is top-notch. Continue soaring. You're the only channel I'm a member of. Awesome. Big compliment, Melistasi. Thank you. Random. Would you put up a witness list that you knew would hurt your case because your client, a witness that you knew would hurt your case because your client wants you to, or ask a question you know is damaging? Amber did, in my opinion. That's a strong discussion you have with the client. If that really was the case, I probably have my client sign something that said, I advised you not to call this witness. You forced us to call your witness. Technically, it's your case. The lawyer is supposed to determine strategy, but I'd have him sign a CYA letter personally. Shauna Coles is a new member. Sue Story, thank you for the super sticker. What is the burden of proof in this case? I think it's the preponderance of the evidence, but there are parts of it that are clear and convincing evidence. Dr. Aisha Musa. Hello, Christian. Mary Turple. Is it possible Whitney Heard testified with the wrong scenario up the stairs in a veiled attempt to impeach the testimony? It's possible, but not likely. Asma El Kadir. Will they bring up the video of Whitney punching Amber Heard? I think they probably would have brought that up while Whitney was testifying. I didn't hear her say, I've never hit my sister, so I don't know how they can impeach her with that. Lisa White tried to become a member. It said page not available. They said there are issues with the with it on the mobile app, like with your iPad, but you have to do it on a desktop, I think. We're trying to work on that. We're going to give an explanation at some point on how to do it on your phone if it's possible. Ira Whaley, thank you. Nash, I don't think the U.S. extradites for perjury, do they? If so, how could she be charged in other countries for it? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. Liesel Nobles, my dad would. So when he's on, let's ask that question. Do you think the judge will have deliberations start on Friday or have the jury come back Tuesday due to the holiday weekend? Love your content. Can't wait to see those beads in your beard. Yes, I am looking forward to that as well. I thought the judge said they were going to start on Monday, but I don't know. We'll see. I have no idea. If the judge doesn't announce it in court, I don't know the answer. That's just a fact that I learned the hard way. Kathy Amen. Who called 911 two times? Amber said she didn't call. Can they prove who called? I think Io said he called. Martine Sinclair, off topic. What software do you use to stream in YouTube? It's called StreamYard. Ira Whaley. Will the jury deliberate during the weekend? If no decision Friday, will they break weekend and come back? This is a judge and jury decision. Whatever they agree to, they can do. If I was the judge and I was the jury, if I was the jury, I'd want to do it over the weekend. I'd want to just get it over with. Rubber toe. Not get it over with meaning rush, but I don't need to prolong coming back, miss more work. Rubber toe. Important to remind the jury of her lack of true fear. The knife would, why would it? Regarding sending shame pics to friends, I didn't need to. Regarding glass, I agree with you. That's a good point. I would definitely bring that up. Casper, when this is over, can you do the Jodi Arias case? I don't know because there are so many cases going on, but if enough people want to, then I will, because enough people wanted these closings. I really didn't want to do it because I didn't want to take the time to prepare something, but we did an abbreviated one, and it's been fun, actually. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Can Amber sue attorneys for any reason if she loses? I mean, she could try to sue them, but I don't think it's going to be successful. Parks White. AH's acting coach testified that she struggled to produce tears when acting. Ipso facto, AH is lying in court, meaning if she was telling the truth for real, she would have actually cried tears. Financial Consultant Network, first lie. I went to 10 auditions a day in LA on a bus. Impossible in a fast car. That's a good point. Carrie and Deb's Span. Watching from Perth, Western Australia. Thanks for your excellent work. What's your favorite JD movie? I don't want to be so basic and say Pirates, but I feel like it's Pirates. My wife's is Blow. I think it's Pirates or Edward Scissorhands. I like Edward Scissorhands. Mona Nugent. In a bruise kit, wouldn't you want light colors? The one in the pic looks to have two dark colors. Maybe it's for making a bruise. That's what everybody's saying, and I agree. I don't understand makeup. I don't pretend to be an expert like Isaac, But to me, the dark colors don't make a lot of sense. Suzanne Darmiento, do you think Jennifer Howell will testify? I think she'll either testify or will come in at some point to impeach Whitney Heard. Yes. Shauna Cole, does Depp have a good chance to win on the op-ed title alone that she republished with the tweet since she hasn't proved essay? I don't know what you mean by she hasn't proved it. There is evidence of it. Now, maybe the evidence you don't find credible or you don't agree with. But she doesn't win automatically just by admitting that she wrote it. Aaron Dalton, which way is your wife leaning on the case? She said she couldn't even get through listening to Amber Heard's testimony because it was so hard to listen to. So I don't think she believes what Amber Heard is saying. Brenda Poor. She's over there, so I'm looking to see if she's reacting to what I'm saying. Thank you, Brenda. Mr. RN, who is Spidey? JD is getting recalled by Amber Heard. Yes, that is true. Spidey is the behavior panel guy. Huge YouTube channel. I think it's called Behavioral Analysts. People will post it in the chat. Let everybody know what it's called. Go check it out. Kelly DeBetts, what does your wife think of the incredible growth of your channel? She thinks it's fun, I guess, and she's helping with the late night lives like this, so it's fun. It's something we get to do together, which is cool too. Vanessa Vernick, in terms of rebuttal witnesses, what are the rules regarding whether they've kept up to date with the trial via social media and or mass media? Yeah, so they're probably told by the lawyers not to check out this stuff because they might be called as rebuttal witnesses. So if they've watched the whole trial and they heard what everybody said, I don't think they're going to be able to come and testify. The judge will probably just ask them. Joyce Brooks, love your channel from Henderson, Nevada. Okay, we've come to about that time, I think. Spider Behavioral Arts. All right, we've come to that time where I think I've got to call it. It's been another long one. We got through mock closings. It was fun. Your questions were fun. You guys had some great ideas. I appreciate everybody joining. We're at 98,500, so only 1,500 left to go. I see a couple more super chats I will get to before we leave. Gilbert Grape, a lot of people saying. But we're 1,500 away from sorry, I don't know what's happening. We're 1,500 away from 100,000. We will get there, hopefully this weekend. Jack Sparrow soon to come. In terms of rebuttal witnesses, what are the rules? Oh, we already answered these. Sorry. Paula Rose, I think, was the new one. Bruise kit makes them color correction, hides bags, blemishes, zits, discoloration, and other skin issues. AH is compact, won't even cover a bruise. Oh, it's like something's wrong with my clicker. Come on, everyone. 1.5K left to 100K. There are 6.2K of us in here. If you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. Yes, please go subscribe if you're not already. People are saying tomorrow is the night. Kelsey, will JD's team be able to use Jen Howell's declaration and or could she be a rebuttal witness? Yes, I think she is going to be a rebuttal witness. I hope, because it's something that I've heard that hasn't come in, so I want it to come in. Astray71, run out Amber Heard's 8 hours and call less strong arguments. They could try to do that. Oh, goodness. Somebody is saying, I think the only reason you haven't reached your goal is because the page is acting up and not letting everybody join. Well, everybody go try to join now, if you can. If the jury comes back early, who would it favor? I think that would favor Johnny Depp, but I'm not positive. I also, could Tug get brought into court due to his communication with Johnny's lawyer? I guess anything's possible, but he's definitely watched the entire case. So I don't think they're going to want to bring him in then. And he's, he would definitely be in favor of Johnny Depp at this point, I think. All right, that's it. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button on the way out. We're out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. Until next time.